Good morning, dear students. Today I am here with the next chapter, Structure and Function of Living Organism Animals. Students, we have studied about the structure and function of flowering plants in our previous chapter. So here in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the structure and function of living organisms, animal body, especially the human body. So let us recapitulate the levels of organism. As you all know, cell is the basic unit or the smallest unit of all living organisms. It has a structure of its own and performs many functions. These group of cells make a tissue. Tissues collectively form organs. The different organs in turn work together for a certain major activity and forms an organ system. And further, these organ systems they collectively form a complete organisms. Human and animal bodies they are made up of many such organ systems. So let us discuss about the main organ systems of human body in detail. First is the digestive system. Students, as you all know, food contains different kind of substances, and these substances are not in the same form as needed by our body. So they need to be converted into soluble particles. The process by which these substances are converted into fine and soluble particles is called digestion. So what does digestion means? The process of breaking down or conversion of food into very fine and soluble particles is called digestion. Students, the human digestive system consists of the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine along with the two glands, liver and pancreas, which also plays important role during the process of digestion. So let's begin with the mouth. Students' mouth is also known as oral cavity. Cavity means empty space inside some solid. So it contains teeth, tongue and salivary glands, as you can see here in the picture also. The process of digestion it begins in the mouth only. Students' teeth start growing before we are born, but they begin to appear from the gums at about 6 months of age. So all of us have two set of teeth in our lifetime. First is the milk teeth or the temporary teeth, and the other one is permanent teeth. Milk teeth are 20 in number and they are replaced by permanent teeth and remain with us till old age, and these permanent teeth are 32 in number. So we have two set of teeth in our lifetime. Further, we have four types of teeth: incisors, canines, premolars and molars. So these incisors they help us to cut or bite the food. Canines they help us to tear the food. Premolars and molars they help us to chew or grind the food. You have studied these things in your junior classes also. Next is the structure of the tooth. So the diagram shows us that the outer part, which is the visible part of the tooth, is called the crown. This is the visible part of the tooth. So this is known as the crown of the tooth, and the root is inside the gums and is attached to a socket in the jawbone. The outer whiter part of the tooth it is made up of enamel, which is the hardest substance of the body. Next is the tongue. Tongue is a muscular organ which is present inside the mouth. It is 10 centimeter long and it has 10,000 taste buds or tiny bumps which are present on it. The tongue helps us to taste various things. It also helps us to speak, and these taste buds they send message to the brain which in turn tell us the taste of the food. So I am not discussing this thing in detail as you have drawn these diagrams earlier also in your junior classes. So the tip of the tongue helps us to identify the sweet taste, The side of the tongue help us to taste sour and salty food items, and the back of the tongue help us to taste bitter things. Now, function of the tongue is to know the taste of the food, whether it is salty, bitter, sour, or sweet. Tongue help us in swallowing the food. Tongue help us in mixing the food with the saliva, which is produced by salivary glands. And most important, it help us to speak. Now, the salivary glands, which is the last organ present in our oral cavity. So, there are three pairs of salivary glands in our mouth. We have three pairs of salivary glands in our mouth. They produce a watery fluid called saliva, and this saliva helps to moisten and soften the food so that it can be easily swallowed. Dear students, and adults secretes about 1 liter of saliva a day. The salivary glands may sometimes get stimulated simply by sight or smell of the food. As I told you earlier also that the digestion process begins in the mouth only. So this saliva helps to begin the digestion process here in the mouth, as it consists of salivary amylase which help to break carbohydrates into simple sugar. So that's why the process of digestion, it begins in the mouth only. Next is the food pipe. Students, the food pipe, it is also known as esophagus. So this food pipe, it is also known as esophagus, and it is a tube about 30 centimeter in length. So this is 30 centimeter long. It is the connecting tube between the mouth and the stomach, and it acts as a passage for the food to slide down from the mouth to a bag-like structure called the stomach. So this pipe is a muscular organ which you can see here in the picture also. The contraction of its muscles is responsible for pushing the food down into the stomach. Next is the stomach. Dear students, as you all know, stomach is a bag-like structure. Here the food is churned and changed into a paste-like substance. You can see the churning process also here in the picture. In the stomach, the food gets mixed with the gastric juice secreted by the gastric glands of the stomach. And these gastric juices help in the digestion of the food. The food generally stays here in the stomach for about 2 to 3 hours. So food spends 2 to 3 hours here in the stomach, and the partial digestion of food takes place in the stomach. Next is the liver and the pancreas, which are the two glands which are associated with this digestion process. Liver in our body is the largest gland. As you can see, this is the largest gland of our body. It is dark brown in color and weighs about 1.5 kg. So this liver is 1.5 kg. It secretes a brownish green fluid called the bile juice, which helps in the digestion of fat. Next is the pancreas. This pancreas secretes the pancreatic juice, which contains certain enzymes that helps in the digestion of food. So these two glands, they pour their digestive juices directly into the small intestine, where the complete digestion of food takes place. So these two glands, they play a major role during the process of digestion and helps in digesting the carbohydrates, fats, proteins, etc. Next is the small intestine. Small intestine is the longest part of digestive system. It is highly coiled tube and nearly 3 centimeter in diameter and 7 meter in its length. So the food get mixed with the bile juice and the pancreatic juice in the small intestine. Both these juices help in the digestion of the various substances which are present, or the nutrients present in the food. The small intestine absorbs nutrients from the digestive food and takes them to all the cells of the body. with the help of the blood, which acts as a transporter. The food nutrients thus provide energy to all parts of the body. The food that remains undigested and unabsorbed is then passed on to the large intestine. So, large intestine, it is the lower end of the it is the lower end of the small intestine, extends into a wide tube-like structure. It is called a large intestine, usually 1.5 meter long and 7 centimeter in diameter. So, unlike the small intestine, large intestine is wider and shorter. Large intestine helps in the absorption of water from the undigested food, and then this undigested waste is pushed into the anus. So here in anus, the undigested food is pushed from the large intestine, and this undigested semi-solid waste product is eliminated from the body through this external opening, and this external opening is known as anus. So that's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.